Hello, I'm Beth Joey and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, welcome. This is the channel where I paint my face, turn my camera on and talk about some books. We are finally heading into October. It is like 2 months until my birthday, so woo for me. I'm super excited. I love my birthday every year. But anyway, we're heading into October, which means it is time to once again play my TBR game. I'm going to be joining Spoopy Hole's or Holly over at Spoopy Hole's readathon in October, Spoopathon I think it's called, but this time she hasn't brought out any prompts, any ideas of what the prompts are going to be. There's no way to sort of build a TBR for this, so I kind of have to hope and pray that what I select in this game is going to be relevant to that. So I'm going to try and keep it kind of spooky, but we'll see. If you're new to my channel, my TBR game is a variation of Snakes and Ladders that I play every single month in order to pick 5 books for my TBR that month. Every month though, if I don't finish a book from the previous month's TBR, I have to come up with some kind of punishment, and I unfortunately am going to have to do that this month because I only read 4 of the 5 books on last month's TBR. I think my punishment for this one is going to be I'm going to add 1 extra roll to my TBR game. So we're going to be doing 6 rolls this month, so let's just get straight into it. Okay, so I've got the board set up so you can see where I landed on last time. I've got my little dice roller, my little cards, which got very squished in their storage place in my flat. So let's hit the roll button, roll that dice and move it 4 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4 will be on purple. And purple, it has to have orange on the cover. We have got the 1-minute timer ready to go. So now I need to find a book that has orange on the cover. And because I'm trying to go spooky, I feel like that might be fairly easy to do. So I know I want to read Velvet Was the Night as part of my like fall thing, and there we go. Look, it has orange. So Velvet Was the Night by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. This is actually on my fall TBR or my spooky season TBR. I can't remember. It's one of those. I'll link the video up above and down below so you can go and check out, but it's supposed to be super vibey, super film noir, kind of creepy, Mexican Gothic author, amazing writer, very descriptive kind of story. So as for what it's about, it's set in Mexico in the 1970s. There's a girl who's a secretary living in a city where there's activists protesting, and then her next door neighbor Leonora goes missing and she's set on finding out what happened to her. And there's I think a second timeline or a second POV of a guy named Elvis, got a passion for rock and roll, which is kind of funny, and he's also set on finding Leonora as well. So swirling in parallel trajectories, Maita and Elvis attempt to discover the truth behind Leonora's disappearance, encountering hitmen, government agents and Russian spies, because Mexico in the 1970s is a noir where life is cheap and the price of truth is high. So sounds super interesting. This is book 1 and it's kind of short, plenty of orange. Keen. If you're also new, you'll know that if I get to the finish line, I get £10 to go and spend at Waterstones. So fingers crossed I get there this time. Though last time I got close, I landed here and had to go all the way back down, which was annoying. So fingers crossed that doesn't happen again this time. I'd love to just get a, 1, 2, 3, 4 and land here. That would make life super easy. But anyway, let's roll the dice and see what we get. 6. Damn it. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, we're so close. Luckily, it starts there, not there. So let's hope we don't get a 1 in the next roll. But it is purple. Oh, that was the last one. Purple, green on the cover this time. 1-minute timer on the clock. Let's find a book that has green on the cover that I can kind of make work for spooky season. So I know We All Fall Down has green on the cover, but I'm not quite ready to read that. Let's try the X Hex. Do you have any green? No, it's kind of more like, is that green? No, it's kind of blue. Okay, that one won't count. What about In My Dreams I Hold a Knife? Do you have green on your cover? Most definitely not. So neither of those. Keep searching, keep searching. You know what, we might just have to go with We All Fall Down, but I really wasn't ready to read that just yet. And I kind of try to avoid those special edition books because I want to read those separately. That's all blue. Escape Artist is yellow. Go Survive, that's blue. These are all like my fairy loots. I don't really want to read any of those. Oh, here we go. Okay, I'm counting this after we fell. It's got green and it went right on the timer. Okay, I'm not punishing myself for this one because I found this one right on the timer, and it is After We Fell by Anna Todd. There's the green on the cover there, so this totally counts. It is the third book in the After series, which I am rereading at the moment because why the hell not? I just watched the most recent movie, which just came out after Ever Happy, I think it is. And there's gonna be one more movie and I kind of want to finish the books. So if you haven't already heard of this series, After follows Hardin and Tessa. Tessa is a good girl. She is attending WCU. Her life has always been planned out to a T. She's got the perfect boyfriend, the perfect life, the perfect mother, everything, until one day she meets Hardin, who is a bit of a bad boy who tempts her in the most dangerous ways. He's rebellious, he treats her badly, but she is intrigued by him, and her whole life is upended by him as well. And it's the story of everything that happens after they met. And it's an interesting series, but also not great. But I'm enjoying reading it and it's a bit of fun. So After We Fell is going to be the next book. My camera is beginning to run out of battery, so let's move quickly for the next few rolls. Roll the dice again, pray that we don't get a 1. Perfect, we got a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're on orange. Let's pick up the next thing. Orange is the bottom, a book that I've owned for over a year. Okay, that should be pretty easy. 1 minute timer on the clock. We've got to find a book that I've owned for over a year. Okay, I say that's easy, but I also don't know how long I've owned most of these books. If we can find If It Bleeds by Stephen King, if you guys can just like yell through the screen when you see that book, that would be lovely. Here we go. If It Bleeds by Stephen King. I've definitely owned you for more than a year. If It Bleeds by Stephen King, definitely owned it for more than a year. This is one of the books that I bought very, very, very early on in my BookTube days. I was influenced by Ben, who was like, you need to read Stephen King. Can't believe you haven't read it yet. And I was like, I don't like that genre, but I bought it anyway. It's a series of short stories written by Stephen King, starting with a girl named Holly Gibney, who's part of the Finders Keepers detective agency. She noticed something suspicious about the TV reporter who's first on the scene of a horrific explosion at her school, and she's determined to look into that a bit more. Outside of that, we've got Mr. Harrigan's Phone, The Life of Chuck, and Rat, which are 3 other short stories following various different people, various different quirky situations. One of them, Rat, is a struggling author head to a remote cabin in the woods of North Maine where a deal-making rodent offers him a life-changing pact. Sounds super interesting, super weird, super twisty. So this will be my 3rd book. On to roll 4. I'm genuinely puffed, but let's move on to the 4th roll. So we'll roll the dice, pray we don't get like a 3. Perfect, we got a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect, we're on the finish line, which means 1, I get a £10 gift voucher, and 2, I get to pick the next book, whatever I want it to be. So I'm going to pick another one on my sort of spooky season TBR. I just need to pick what that's going to be. And I think I'm going to go for The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake, just because I'm like the only person in the world who hasn't read this yet. So my next roll number 4, got me to the very end of the board, and I picked up The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. I am both the only one in the world who hasn't read this yet, and also the only one in the world who doesn't really know what it's about. So I'm going to read you the blurb, and it says, "Welcome to the Alexandrian Society. When the world's best magicians are offered an extraordinary opportunity, saying yes is easy. Each could join the secretive Alexandrian Society, whose custodians guard lost knowledge from ancient civilizations. Their members enjoy a lifetime of power and prestige, yet each decade only 6 practitioners are invited to fill 5 places." And I'm going to finish there because I don't want to give too much away with this one. I'm really, really keen to read this. It's been on my TBR for ages and ages, ever since Ashley over at Frolic Through Fiction first talked about it forever ago when it was a self-published book. So we go back down to the beginning of the board again, and we roll the die and get 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are on orange. Orange is a sequel. I have to read a sequel. 1 minute timer on the clock. This should be super easy because I actually want to do a reread of the Inheritance Games series now that the final Gambit has come out. So I'll read this one at some point during the month, but this prompt will be filled by The Hawthorne Legacy by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I did put the timer on for that one, but it only lasted like 3 seconds because I picked that book so quickly, and it is The Hawthorne Legacy by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the sequel to the Inheritance Games, and it's a trilogy. The third book, The Final Gambit, has come out recently, and I really, really want to read the whole series in one go. So the Inheritance Games follows Avery, who came from nothing, but she has a plan. She is set on working hard for her future, keeping her head down, and just getting through high school. And then one day an eccentric billionaire dies and mysteriously leaves his entire fortune to her, with the caveat that in order to receive this, she has to go and live in his house for 1 year. Now this creates a bit of a problem because all of his family that she essentially just disinherited unknowingly also lives in this house. And it's a house built by riddles and games, and she is set on joining these brothers in helping to figure out how she got this inheritance, what happened, how she was chosen, and that is what the first book at least follows. And then The Hawthorne Legacy goes on from there. There was a big cliffhanger at the end of the first book, which I struggled to like not immediately pick up The Hawthorne Legacy, but I knew that there'd probably be a cliffhanger too in this one, so I wanted to wait until I had all 3 before I read them. So this is the next, I guess, 2 books. And we are on to our final roll. So let's get the dice up and end up with 4. So that will be 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, okay, going right back down to yellow. That's like a horrible, horrible omen. Let's make that ring stay put. Yellow, I have to read a biography or an autobiography, and oh my god, I am so keen for this one, but I'm not gonna film me getting it. I know exactly where it is, but Ben's in the other room and he's in his PJs and he probably doesn't want to appear on film today, so I'm gonna go grab this. It won't take me a minute to find it. I know exactly where it is. Just like everybody else at the moment, I bought this amazing book. I'm Glad My Mum Died by Jeanette McCurdy. I have heard so many people raving about how amazing this is. I got it on audiobook. I started listening to it, but was like, no, I want to be able to annotate this. I want to be able to take my time with it and really, really enjoy it in hard copy. So I bought the hard copy as well. It was like 10 bucks on Amazon. So cheap. So this is going to be the last book, and I'm so glad it managed to fit onto this TBR. As for what it's about, I'm going to read you the blurb because if you know me, you know that I am always really careful with non-fiction books. I want to make sure that I tell the story the way the author intended it to rather than my own interpretation of it. So I'm going to read you the blurb, and it says, Jeanette McCurdy was 6 years old when she had her first acting audition. Her mother's dream was for her only daughter to become a star, and Jeanette would do anything to make her happy. So she went along with what Mum called calorie restriction, eating little and weighing herself 5 times a day. She endured extensive at-home makeovers while Mum chided, your eyelashes are invisible, okay? You think Dakota Fanning doesn't tint hers? She was even showered by Mum until age 16, and was also forced to share her diaries, email, and her entire income. In I'm Glad My Mum Died, Jeanette recounts all of this in unflinching detail, just as she chronicles what happens when the dream finally comes true. Cast in a new Nickelodeon series called iCarly, she is thrust into fame. Though Mum is ecstatic, emailing fan club moderators and getting on a first-name basis with the paparazzi, hi Gail, Jeanette is riddled with anxiety, shame, and self-loathing, which manifest into eating disorders, addiction, and a series of unhealthy relationships. These issues only get worse when, soon after taking the lead in the iCarly spin-off Sam and Cat alongside Ariana Grande, her mother dies of cancer. Finally, after discovering therapy and quitting acting, Jeanette embarks on recovery and decides for the first time in her life what she really wants. Told with refreshing candor and dark humor, I'm Glad My Mum Died is an inspiring story of resilience, independence, and the joy of shampooing your own hair. So, I mean, from that blurb, you can probably tell why I'm obsessed with this. I'm so excited to read it. I could not be more keen. So this is the last book that I'm going to be putting on my TBR for the month of October. So here is my stack for my TBR. I've put the Inheritance Games on here just because I'm going to be reading that, and me putting the Hawthorne Legacy kind of forces that onto my TBR. So it is 7 books large, and it is, you know, there are a few short ones in here which gives me some hope, but there are also a few chunky ones like After We Fell, but I can read that on audiobook. It'll be super quick. But anyway, this is my stack for the month of October. I'm gonna put it down now because it's really heavy. Let me know in the comments down below if you play a TBR game, what that game is. Come and tell me about it and what books you ended up picking for October. Let me know as well if you're planning on taking part in Spoopy Hole's Spoopathon in October. It should be super fun. I've never done it before, but I've heard great things about previous editions. I've heard it's got like a bit of a story to it as well, so I'll link the announcement video down below so you can go and check that out. But yeah, come and chat to me in the comments down below. I love talking to you guys and I do my best to reply to every single comment. I really, really hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please do let me know by liking, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell all down below. It is a super, super easy way to help my channel grow, and I will see you lovely people in my next video. Bye!